Hey, most founders dramatically underestimate just how hard it is to consistently attract, convert, and onboard the right franchise partners. Stick around, you're going to want to hear why I feel that way and what you can do about it.
This is the Franchise Pitfalls and Profits Show. Each week, we bring you the challenges and triumphs of being in the franchise development and consulting business. The things you need to make money faster. And now your host, one of the most successful franchise developers in North America, Don Shin.
Hey, it's Don Shin. Welcome back to Franchise Pitfalls and Profits. We're the franchise podcast that helps franchise brands build classically the under 100 units. 93% of the franchises out there are under 100 units, or maybe you're just still pushing toward that first 20 or 25. This episode in particular is for those who are the under 50s, because I think this is something that's just really critical, and candidly, it's something very few people are talking about. Very few are honest about it. Very few know what to do about it. So this might be unpopular. This might ruffle some feathers, but we're going to talk about two of the biggest stumbling blocks in the early stages of franchise growth, and that is franchise development and lead generation. I need to say something that really needs to be said, whether it's unpopular or not, and that is that most founders dramatically underestimate just how hard it is to be consistently attracting, converting, and onboarding the right franchise partners. You often feel candidly that, hey, I can't understand why this person isn't more interested in my brand, what I've developed. You're so very close to it. And we're going to unpack the challenges that you may be feeling and not recognizing, or you're denying you've got them. But we're just going to unpack it today. And we're going to talk about the things that you can actually do to fix it at the end of the day. So most emerging brands are assuming, hey, I've got this great thing. I've got this great product. I've kind of tweaked. I've worked with somebody to develop this really neat story. People are just going to want this. They're going to be pounding on my door. They're going to be lining up at my doorstep. They launch the FDD. Maybe they get a broker involved or some broker organization involved. They run some ads. They play around with boosting posts. And then crickets. And why is this happening? Well, you're not going to like this, but I think it really is the harsh reality and truth. Your concept isn't enough. Not in today's marketplace. There's depending on what article you read, there's something like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 different brands in the marketplace. Your concept just isn't enough. Buyers have hundreds, if not thousands, of options. You're competing against other franchises. You think you're competing just with some brand or concept that looks like yours, but you're not. You're competing with all the franchises out in the marketplace. And you're also competing against the buyer's fear, their self-doubts, their skepticism, their perceptions of franchising, their skepticism about what you've really got there. And you're competing with every other reason someone has for not moving forward, not taking the risk to start any franchise, let alone your brand. So if you're not prepared to market like crazy, to lead gen like crazy, to tell your story really better than what you think you're telling it, and to fund this process, then your growth is never going to start, or your growth is going to stall. So let's say you do get some leads. That's great. So now what do I do with these leads? I can't tell you the number of times I've talked to a founder or partners in a franchise concept, and they go, "Yeah, we launched about 5 or 6 weeks ago. We've got like 45 or 50 leads." Uh-oh. You launched 5 or 6 weeks ago. You're not doing anything with the 45 or 50 leads that you generated. What's going on with that? Well, here's the wall that most founders hit. They hit the wall that says they have not structured a sales process. They've not created or put together a sales process. So this is the second big thing in this whole concept of why you're stalling, why you're not growing. So funding and massive marketing and really being out there generating leads. And second of all, then if you are generating some leads in some way, not having a sales process. Founders might take every call personally, or worse, they're delegating it to someone who has really zero franchise sales experience. I've even seen some cases. I remember a gym concept that I worked with years ago that the guy said, "Oh, I've got the trainer on the floor. He's a really nice kid, and he loves training. So I'm giving him my franchise leads to start to talk to before I talk to the person." I've seen it again and again. No lead nurturing process, no pipeline visibility, no structure in the process, no data on conversion rates. In my prior example, yeah, they kind of knew they had 45 or 50 leads, but they had no idea who they had reached out to, who had responded to their reach outs. They had no data about step-to-step conversions. And overall, they just had no system to move people from some early on awareness or curiosity to let's get into this and let's get you to a place where you're actually going to commit to join our brand. But if this is you, if this sounds like you, it's okay. You're not alone. But the truth is that passion doesn't close deals. Your passion alone's not going to close deal. Your process, your ability to nurture those relationships, or somebody that's working with you or for you is able to nurture those leads, develop that nurturing process, relationship building to the place where, that your passion and your brand can stand out and can close the deal. So let me run through a few of the biggest mistakes that I see brands under 100 units making. All right, first of all, they underestimate how much nurturing or how much follow-up it actually takes to get someone to close. Most franchise sales happen after upwards of 10 touches. If you're ghosting leads after one or two, they're gone. And I said that specifically. If you're ghosting them, so back to my example, somebody said, a new brand said they had 45 or 50 leads, and they're sitting there after 5 or 6 weeks, not quite sure what to do. I will tell you those leads are probably gone. Now, I will say one of the things about Franchise Building Expert, our seasoned professionals, when we bring on a new client where we're doing it for them, we will almost certainly get at least one sale out of their old database, because there are sales in there. It's just you as founders have kind of let them go. You've done the cricket things on them, and they're pretty much not going to be interested right now. But the right approach with the right training, the right skill sets, a professional at this is going to be able to go into that database, create a quick touch system, and then create a process of the follow-up. There is a sale or two in your old database, old meaning probably upwards of the last, say, 6 months or so. So first thing they underestimate how much you are underestimating how much follow up, how many touches, how much nurturing it's actually going to take to make a sale. Second thing is they don't really differentiate. This is kind of an interesting thing. Some of the general things that founders new in this business say is, "Oh, we give great support." Or yeah, we have a really strong culture. They only have two franchisees, but they have a really strong culture. So why would someone pick your brand over hundreds of others for the phrase of "we have great support"? So you've got to differentiate yourself. You've got to stand out. There's just too much out there that is really good. Yours may be great. Yours may be the best. But if you can't differentiate that, then you're losing sales. A third thing is early brands, young brands, emerging brands often talk about um, their what as opposed to their why. They are fundamentally they're selling on logic as opposed to emotion. And yet, interestingly enough, I believe the majority of a sale is made on the emotion and not on the logic. You need both. You need the logic to justify why you're emotional, why the prospect's kind of emotionally connected to this, but and you've got to lead with those things. But logic is the rational second. So buyers connect emotionally first. So you need to talk more about your why than your what's. Fourth thing is your buyers are or you as founders, excuse me, you as founders confuse interest with intent. I can't tell you the number of times that I've seen founders or people new to the franchise development space, and they just can't understand why. They've worked and talked to this person for 3 or 4 weeks, and oh boy, they seem like just an awesome candidate, and then they're gone. And so you're confusing some interest with someone's intent to move forward, or real intent even to investigate your concept. So going through steps and having them clearly say small yeses and micro commitments to you is great, but you've got to qualify these people ultimately to get people down the road that are genuinely intending to move forward with something, and then hopefully you're one of the last or the last that they're considering. All right, so we've talked about underestimating how much follow-up it takes. Founders of franchises, smaller brands not differentiating themselves, talking too much about what they are and their stuff, as opposed to why the business is in business, why the founders started this business. Founders or emerging brands often confuse. They're not trained enough in franchise development and sales. They're confusing just general interest of a candidate with serious intent to buy. And then the last thing is you are relying too heavily on brokers without having a real plan to grow your franchise. Brokers are great. Don't get me wrong. We do brokering. We are in a broker organization, but brokers can be part of your mix. But if you are expecting the brokers to do your job, if you're expecting, I actually heard an emerging brand one time say that the brokers are selling for me, you're really risking your business. You're risking the development of your franchise. If only brokers are the only leads in your pipeline, you are very vulnerable because the brokers can be very fickle. You have one bad report or one bad circumstance with a prospect, or one bad validation candidate, and your brokers can dry up. So you need multiple lead generating, multiple strategies to run for you to actually grow your business. And this, again, is one of the mistakes that emerging brands make. They get in with some of these membership organizations, not the big ones that really vet you, but they get in with these membership organizations and expect the brokers to do it all for them. You may get started that way. You may pick off a couple of sales here or there, but the reality is if you're only counting on broker leads, your brand and its growth is at risk. So how do we fix these things? How do you know how to fix these things? So let's go over a few of these things. One, create a lead journey. You should have 7 to 8, 9, 10 touches. You should create a discovery process. You should map out every step, and you should have resources along the way. It's got to be about more than just you giving them a one-page questionnaire to fill out. You've got to make this a journey of discovery. In franchising, we often use this thing called Discovery Day, but you need to make the whole process a journey of discovery for your leads. A second thing you want to do is to nurture like a pro. If you've not been trained on this, if you've done nothing other than start the franchise, spend the tens of thousands of dollars, and you, the founder, are doing it all, running your flagship unit, and you're trying to sell franchises, you really need to get good at nurturing leads. If you can't do it, and I'm telling you, you probably don't have the time to do all of that, that's a whole nother podcast and topic, then you need to hire people to do this. Again, don't hire the trainer in your gym. Don't hire your brother's son or somebody's cousin. You need to work with professionals that will either set up your system or set it up and do it for you. But in the early days, it's critical to have a nurturing system for the leads that you are generate. So you need email drip campaigns. You could do webinars, like group webinars, to talk about your brand to your more interested candidates. You need to keep showing up to your leads with value. And so you need to nurture those relationships. You need to understand how to do it, or bring somebody on board, even outsource it if you have to. But you need to bring people on board that know how to professionally do this. So that leads me to a total talk about outsourced sales. I know the way we do our pricing structures, you can have us on board as a consulting gig, plus doing your outsourced sales for the less than the price of an admin. We like to work heavily on performance. So in the early days, so you don't have a payroll, you don't have a lot of cost going out while you're starting to build your franchise. Don't be fearful of outsourcing, but go with someone that understands emerging brands. Go with a company that has done it already, not just you've got some account rep assigned you, but go with companies that have been there, done that, experienced it. They understand how to get franchise number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, don't be afraid of outsourcing. It's a great way to hire the kind of talent that you really need, not have to train it, get it up to speed in months, not in a year to 2 years. Another thing is emerging brands, to fix some of these challenges, is you need to work your numbers backwards. So you want to close 10 franchisees and you can rough out a conversion rate of maybe 2%. That means you need 500 leads to get 10 franchisees. So do you have the plan and the budget to hit those 10 franchise sales? That's something we ask our prospects to become part of our private clients. we want to be sure that their expectations are realistic. Oh yeah, I want 100, but at a 2% conversion rate, how many leads would you need to make 100 sales? So you've got to be realistic. Again, that's part of what we do with our clientele, is we help them work through realistic numbers and create realistic marketing or lead generation budgets. And then you need to build foundational content that either sells or even pre-sells. So maybe they're videos of you as the founder and your story. Maybe they're if you have one or two franchisees, you have them do some video. Maybe it's an FAQ type of page. So as you're starting to work with prospects, you know what they're going to ask, so you preempt them asking that live and put that out there for prospects or the suspects to actually read first before they really get involved with a friend dev rep or you. So these are just these pre-sales are just tools, resources that help warm up your pipeline, if you will, and they will shorten your sales cycle overall, which is really, really a good thing. So this isn't about hacks. This is about discipline. This is about clarity in the marketplace. Honestly, this is about doing it right from the start, and not only right from the start, but right every time. So if this is resonating, you're realizing your franchise sales aren't what they should be, I just want to leave you with a final thought, and that is that franchise development is not a set it and forget it function. It's really the lifeline of your whole brand. So whether you're still trying to do it all yourself, or you've handed it off in some fashion, but you're still not seeing the results you want, the growth's too slow, you're plateauing, you're sensing some gaps, but you're not always 100% sure what to do to fill those gaps, take the time to do an audit of your process. Can you do it yourself? Maybe, but you want to ask things like, are we generating enough qualified leads? So you could generate leads and get suspects, but are they really good prospects? Do they match up preliminarily? Do they match up well? Do you have a structured system at all to move people through the, as I said, discovery journey? And you want to also, thirdly, you could ask yourself, are you prepared to support and validate what you're actually selling? So as they transition from a lot of the emotional piece of the journey, do you have the logic that's going to validate what you're saying that your company is about and what you do? If you don't have these things or more, then get help. Don't wait until, say, your validation, your first 5 franchisees start to not be so happy. And that impacts your franchise sales. Fix things like that on the front end. Fix it now, and get your franchisees performing more strongly. The early ones, in particular, the first dozen, so that they validate well, and the future growth is not impacted. I appreciate you tuning in. I'll see you next time here on Franchise Pitfalls and Profits. And if you would like to do more, to talk more, to find out more, we have tons of resources on my LinkedIn page, tons of resources on our website, Franchise Building Expert, or DM me. I love to pour into people, give you my thoughts, give you a quick fix. A quick look, I should say, not a quick fix, but a quick shot of what I'm seeing from talking to you. Franchise Building Expert also has a great validation tool. We use it with all of our people that maybe want to become a franchise, or they're emerging brands and they feel there's some things they could do better. We call it a "Are You Franchisable" assessment. It's great if you have less than 10 units. It's great if you're thinking about turning your business into a franchise. It is just an awesome tool for identifying the gaps and really getting an outside set of eyes on your business to see indeed whether there's more you should be doing with it or more you could be doing or places that really need fixed. So DM me, email me, Don Shin at Franchise Building Expert, and we will go ahead and talk with you a little bit more about the 10 to 20 different areas of the business that the Are You Franchisable assessment works on. Thanks for tuning in.